Well, hi, we're back to the speed runs, and as always, I'm going to try to help you learn from the rating ranges we are, typical mistakes that people make at these ratings, and also what we should be thinking of when we're generally playing chess. Please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. It makes a massive difference for you to get this free content. I need to keep building it. Okay, so we're starting with e4 in this speed run. We played the Jabava London in the last one, but I'm sure a lot of you play e4. And I'm going to continue in quite traditional development with the knight coming out. And now he's playing the Petrov, which is very popular at top level now. Now, I'm following again, whenever you play any openings, you've got to know a bit of theory about everything. And e4 is generally a bit more theory heavy than d4, but d4 now is a move that I recommend in my Grandmaster Gambit's Chessbrah course. But I have to say, I can't remember it very well. But my opponent's automatically captured here, which is already an error, I think, because I can start aggressively kicking that knight around. And already I think I'm doing very well here. So he's got, it's strange, he's 1600 and I play quite a natural move. He doesn't take any time to answer, and I think he's going to find he's in a little bit of a problematic position soon. Okay, so he's moved his knight here, and the logical move is queen takes here when he's going to move his pawn defending his knight. So maybe I'm going to kick this one away first, because that looks like a very bad square for his knight. And I can capture this one immediately, opening up his king. And I've got an undeveloped piece, and I'm capturing it for something, his only developed piece. So I like this move because now he can never really castle safely. So I am going to bring my queen in. It allows him to gain one tempo on my queen when he wants to. But it seems like my queen's going to be a very active piece in the attack. Okay, what's next then? Well, I think I need to just get the pressure building. So is he going to go d5 and develop my pieces? I can't see anything immediate at the moment. This is quite interesting actually, but I feel developing is good and natural. And I'm thinking, where do I want to put my king? And I'm actually getting drawn to queenside castling. So I mean, let's just get the knight out. Let's develop a piece. I mean, I think in the long term my position is very good. And here I am. This is one of the reasons I did this, because I want to castle queenside and have this pressure. If he attacks this one, I develop my last piece, and here I keep all the pressure up, and I've got full development. I'm always very happy when I've got full development. So I am going to get rid of this one, and now it's really time to think about killing him, because I'm castled, he's not castled, his king is weak, and I feel now I want to move my queen because now my pawn can move. It was pinned, and I want to move it somewhere where I can create a threat, and this creates a direct threat. If he castles in this position, we want to get more pieces to the attack. I'd love to get my knight into this square, but I don't want to allow some queen exchanges. So he hasn't castled. Okay, so what next? What about this knight? Can we get this knight into the mix? Can we even play this move first and get the rook around? A lot of tempting moves. He has the two bishops, but I think I'm just going to go with my knight. I want to get my knights. I'm trying to think of the best squares for them. Why don't I move my knight here? Well, if he takes, I'm very comfortable. He's very cramped. He has got a bad pawn structure, even if we get to an ending. But this knight has more ideas. It's attacking this pawn in some lines. It might come into this square. Okay, so he's gone to a position where he's now creating some ideas here. But the other thing was, I wanted to get my knight to f5. So can I do this now? I think we should go for it. Let's get our knight here, straight into the position where it has some pressure. Okay, now even this move is tempting. But knight here, he moves his queen. And he's just about holding on here, it seems, frustratingly. Now, do we have to go for the ending where we... Okay, I mean, here, queen f6, and I can't see a follow-up. I'm getting short of time. So I'm going to go for the ending because I've calculated very quickly. And at this level, I feel at this level, this is where the calculation becomes a bit more important. I've calculated here that I am taking this pawn, and I might have a small advantage with my rook now coming in here. But I am a pawn down actually here, and I don't know. Maybe this was maybe you know, my opponent has just about survived that. I probably had a better win, but my calculation not as good as it used to be. I'll be honest. Okay, so this is chasing his king, and why not keep chasing his king? This looks like a fun line to play. You know, even though the queens are not on the board, you have to be bloody careful, mate. Where are you going with that one? What's he doing? He's going to come all the way here. This is incredible. I mean, I think this was very risky from him. Look at this king go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Look at it. Oh, this is incredible. Now he has to go to f1 because otherwise I would have had rook here with mate. Now, incredible position this, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. But where is the win? Okay, so we go check. And obviously we're certainly not interested in draw. I feel I need to get my knight into this one to finish it off. But how? This check he takes here. So do we just come back with the knight with ideas of bringing it to d3, which looks like which we can close in on that king, because then we have knight f4 checks and we have rook e1 checkmate. So maybe this is the idea, knight here and rook here. So that was okay. So I'm going to continue with this. Now I think he has to take my knight with his rook, and then I'm going to bring my rook up and try to get my rook here, because this move I thought was just checkmate, right? Oof, that was interesting. That was a really interesting game to get us started, and a tough game there. Again, using time is my opponent didn't do it, but okay. I mean, this. Let's have a look where he went wrong. I mean, first of all, he plays the Petrov, very good opening, and I play a line which is a bit of a sideline d4. And I always suggest this to people, that rather than pick the main lines, if you're trying to learn your own opening repertoire, maybe pick the third or fourth choice, because you're much more likely to surprise your opponent as long as it's a sound option. This move I give again in my Grandmaster Gambits course. There's a free 1 hour basic video of that on Chessbrah, short and sweet. But I know this is a good move, and already it seems like I gained a big initiative with this idea. I probably missed something later on, and we got into an ending where he should have been feeling a lot more comfortable, but immediately he went wrong in this position. And even though the queens were off the board, he didn't have that sense of danger he needed. I'm threatening a big knight jump here, but I really, maybe it's very bad anyway, but I feel he must try to get his king around here. And the issue he has now, if the king comes to the g file, rook g1 is just winning. So actually it could have just been very bad all along for him. Let's get another game in anyway. That was a very exciting game, and we're now getting up to 1550, so we're going to expect some tougher battles. Okay, now I'm going to switch up to another opening I play regularly, and I'm going to go for the French defense. I think the French defense is a very good opening for beginners to learn. Why? Because you have a very simple plan. Now he's played a rare move, g3, but let's stick with our French defense plan. And the first thing you do, stage 1, is to get this very nice pawn formation. The exchange French is very popular at club level, at lower levels, not so much at top levels. And here I'm just going to take with a pawn. We have a symmetrical pawn structure, so it's all about development. It doesn't seem like my opponent really has any weaknesses here, so there's nothing I can latch onto. So I'm just going to develop my pieces and get castled for now. I'm not going to think about doing anything that clever unless I can see something which causes him issues. Okay, so now I'm thinking develop this piece and castle. I mean, there is bishop g4 here, but just to see what he does against that move. But I think I'm just going to castle. Where do I want my bishop? I think I want it on d6, because when I get my rook on the open file, I don't want the bishop in the way, and I don't really see what my bishop's ever doing here. On d6, it's still not fantastic, but maybe I can get through that way at some point. Okay, he's trying to exchange queens. I don't want to do that, so the only way I can sensibly avoid that is by developing my bishop. And this, of course, loses a pawn, and we saw this in the previous speed run, but then I gain a lot of development. Now he's going for a very risky line. Now sometimes you can try to take advantage of your opponent's move orders, but only if the position deserves it. Now, does he deserve to be putting me under pressure here? The answer is no. I haven't done anything wrong, and I'm going to sacrifice this pawn very comfortably. He's moved the same piece twice. He's moved his queen. His king is still in the middle. It's going to take him a couple of moves to castle, and he's got terrible development. I've got better development. So an idea like this just doesn't deserve to work. And after castling, I'm simply going to offer this pawn. If he grabs it, he's going to have to deal with the rook coming to the e file. If he doesn't grab it, he's lost a very nice piece which defends his king, the bishop over there. Okay, so he's changed his mind, which I think makes the most sense. And I'm now going to try to do something a bit quicker in the position, because if he's able to stabilize, I feel he's going to be all right here. I've got an open file, so my eyes are drawn to that. So I'm thinking I open up the file and I try to get my queen in quickly. And this move seems correct because I open up the f6 square for my queen. So what's my opponent done wrong here? I didn't like his check and I didn't like his bishop move. You can do things like this when you've done the basics, development, castling, blah, blah, blah. But he hasn't done those things here. So now I'm going to continue my plan. My queen applying pressure to his knight. And I now want to think about this knight. Moving it here seems very sensible, but in typical French defense measure, this move may also be good. Now he's not threatening to take here because I go pawn takes. Well, okay, he can do that, but he has to move his knight. I can also take, and I think this might be the correct move because he'd love to take with his bishop, but after I capture here, if he doesn't want to lose a piece, he has to go backwards with his knight. And then his pieces are he still hasn't completed that all-important thing of development. So I've got a big development advantage. Now taking this pawn, well, I could do, but I like this move. And the point is, I'd want to take it with my knight. And if he defends it, now I've got full development. And because he's got this bad development, I really want to open things up. How do I open things up? And this is my idea. I want to get everything working. My rook coming to the open file. Every piece. Let's do that immediately. The harmony with the pieces here is fantastic. Every piece is really looking very comfortable. And now I'm going to take the knight because, again, I'm looking for the best. You know, the rook takes had an immediate threat, but immediate threats are not always the correct moves. And this now is my main idea. How do I get that to work? Well, I'm going to play c5, trying to move his knight away. He has to play f4 here. Do I have an immediate win after f4? If not, I move the knight and I win a piece. I think I'm winning a piece here by force, and that should be enough. Again, have I done anything special in this game? No. What have I done here? I don't really know the theory of this what he did on g3, but I haven't done anything special. Okay, so I could be looking at this, but after pawn takes here, it's a bit messy. So I'm just going to move my knight, which attacks two things. And where do I want to move it? I think I'm going to move it here because I've got more pressure on the square that I'm going to capture. Attacking his queen, attacking his knight. Yes, he might win a pawn with check, but his king is still weak. His development's still bad. I'm incredibly safe in this position, and it should be reasonably plain sailing. So let's, well, again, I know a lot of you saying, oh, winning one positions, it's so hard, and I understand that, and it is sometimes. So let's keep concentrating right to the end. I am a piece up. Now, I would normally take queens and simplify things, and let's do that. Let's keep the queens off. I'm a piece up. Why am I doing this? Because it forces the exchange of queens. We're getting rid of any hope he has. I've got bishop c5, and if he attacks my knight, it's very hard for him to develop. I'm gonna just get my bishop to a better diagonal now. It wasn't doing anything there. I'm threatening something with my knight. I'm now gonna just try and get my rook to the 7th rank. Very sensible play. Attack his bishop with tempo. And here, well, there might be some stronger moves, maybe this and knight here. But again, what am I trying to do? I'm a piece up, so let's try to exchange off more minor pieces. I'm trying to get rid of the bishop. Now this bishop is strong, so let's again just try to exchange off that piece. Have I allowed a4? Have I allowed this move? He could have gone a4 and winning a piece back there, I think. Unbelievable. You can still, yeah, that was an unbelievable error on my part. Okay, I'm a bit worried about my back rank, so I'm going to give my king an escape square. This is one way I can see myself losing. Okay, and now, well, let's force the exchange of rooks because of the threat of this one. And I'm just going to try to keep control. I'm not going to rush into exchanging. I want to exchange on my terms. This also threatens this checkmate, which I feel be the simplest way to do it, and this forces the win. So actually the way I won that game is, again, I didn't do anything particularly special. He played, we'll have a look at it afterwards, it's checkmate next move, and I'm sure we will see that now. And well, he plays this weird move on move 2, so did it shock me? Not really. I just played my normal plan, d5 anyway. After the exchange on d5, we have a very normal position. So as I said, I just tried to develop here in castle. I want to move each of my pieces while I'm developing to the best squares. So I move my knight to a square, I move my bishop to what I think is the best square. He should have done the same. He should have tried to develop and castle. And only later on do we need to think of plans then. But he starts to play moves which are threatening stuff, but not all threats are good. And this is a typical mistake people make. You know, sometimes creating threats is just bad because, you know, they work against your position. Yeah, your opponent, if he can easily defend them, why are you just creating threats? You're hoping he's going to play a bad move. Never hope your opponent's going to play a bad move. And here I develop a piece. I stop that threat. He moves the piece twice. And already after castling, I think he's in a lot of problems here. He didn't grab this pawn. If he did grab it, well, look at his position. It's shambolic for one pawn. This is a major threat. His king is in the middle. His queen's in the middle. My knight can still jump in. Great development. His position is horrendous. Okay, let's get another game in, shall we? So we'll try to play another one. We've got the black pieces again. So I think we'll stick to the French defense. So as we had that. So stage 1, we get this pawn chain in the middle. So let's do that. Everyone seems to take at this level. They do. See, everyone plays the exchange French, which, you know, I don't like seeing because it's a bit of a boring line. But I'm also very happy to play against it because you're equal immediately. Now, there's a number of ways you can play here. There's a little bit of theory. You can just copy with an equal position. But I like playing this move because I want to try to just unbalance it as soon as I can. And this is a nice pin. Now, my opponent moves his bishop, and I don't like what he's done there because that, to my eyes, seems like a really crap square. What's the bishop doing there? It's simply defending. So already I feel my pieces have better position than him. So I need to castle now. So I need to get these guys out. Castling kingside looks sensible. So I'm just going to move my knight towards the center. I've got this pin. I'm very happy about that. I'm going to try to move my bishop next. Okay, so now he's changing the pawn structure. But this is going to, when these pawns come off, leave him with an isolated pawn. But also, he has to be very careful because he's not, again, it's like the last game, he's not really developing. And this move develops a piece with check, and he's wasted time by putting his bishop here. And then I'm going to castle straight away. So I have a very nice development advantage after this check, which I'm clearly going to play here. And next move, I have, you know, he's got, you know, this is one of those positions where he could go wrong very quickly. Now watch out for checks, of course. I could try coming in straight away. But I'm just going to play it safe and castle. Let's just do this. Just to avoid any checks. Now he's again played another move which hasn't helped him castling. He should have surely been aiming to move the bishop and castling. So he's wasted like 1, 2, 3 moves here. So now that I'm safe, I really should try to move into aggressive mode. And a couple of ideas I'm thinking of. One is b6 to try and get a better pawn structure. If he takes, I take towards the center. Another, which I'm going to play quickly, is create threats. Now, obviously, I did say not creating threats is not always good, but if you're moving a piece to the center and you're, you know, really homing in, it looks good to me. Now, I can do damage to his pawns here, but then he kicks my knight away. So I'm not in a rush to do that in this position. I feel I could go knight here, but what does it actually do? I mean, it's one of those little artificial moves which I don't necessarily think helps me. I want to play something a bit, well, it does stop his knight coming there, I suppose. So this seems like a very natural developing move, but okay, maybe I should be playing this, because if he does castle kingside now, then I take the knight and his kingside will be ruined. If he castles queenside, I'm happy because I got b6 waiting, opening up. So I think, yeah, let's develop the last piece. The main reason I'm doing this is to stop his knight coming in. It's not actually to do anything myself, but it's to stop his idea. But maybe with my queen coming in here, I can start threatening stuff like knight takes pawn. Okay, so again, I Okay, but then this is a little bit wrong. So it seems like maybe I've misplayed this a little bit. It seems like he's gone out of it. Okay, let's really... Okay, this one is annoying. I'm going to have to take that knight off. Maybe I want to keep the advantage up. I have the lead in development. So my pieces seem to be optimized. Let's try using my pawns to create threats. Okay, if I get the pawn there, I create a threat. So let's use this pawn. So I'm trying to optimize my pieces. Okay. Now, I can take here or drop back. F4, he takes, he gets this open H file. I don't like that. If I take, bishop takes, queen here, still very interesting. Attacking that pawn, but I'm going to drop back. I'm going to drop back simply because, and I'm very slow here. This game, I'm really going to have to pick up the pace because it's been very complicated. So I think you need to, some openings you can just play very quickly. But when it's more complicated in an open position, I don't want to allow any tricks of this, so I'm going to quickly take that. You have to slow down when the position is more tactical. Continue with my plan, pawn here. And now I want to get my queen in the game, so I want to bring my queen in so my rook can come over. I think the action is happening on the king side. So I want to get my rook on the open file, where I have ideas of moving my knight. If he goes on the open file here, I'm going to go b6. And here I've improved my pawn structure because he's got this weak pawn. If he ever attacks this pawn, I can bring my knight back. He has. I'm bringing my knight back to defend that pawn very quickly. And okay, very passive move. I'm going to move very quickly. My bishop lining up against his queen, just improving my pieces. How else can I improve my position here? Okay, he's come in. Don't want to lose that bishop, so I'm just going to move it so he can't exchange it. I want to play c6 because it shores up my pawns, but then he takes this pawn, so I might need to defend this pawn in order to play c6 to kick his pieces back. He should be playing bishop d3. He finds it. So another way... Oh, this is an interesting move. My knight can come back and kick that rook away. I don't like my opponent having active pieces. Before I go in, I'm just going to take with this one. Oh no, I've dropped a pawn here. Okay, he's played very well, hasn't he, this guy, from a bad position. But I still should have some good chances here. Okay, yeah, I see he's dropping this, but his rook is on pre. So has he calculated this right? For example, if I attack his knight, I don't know why he did that. He could have... Okay, because now after this one, he had 3 minutes. Bad use of time. Again, in a critical position like that, why didn't he slow down? The problem he's got now is his knight is trapped. So he's grabbing a pawn for it, but this is actually... He's still got g4. Takes and his rook opens up. That's a bit lucky for him, actually, I feel. G4 keeps his game very much alive. Will he see g4? I could have gone knight there as well, but I'm just trying to move my knight into a nice central square. Okay, let's break the pin. I don't like that queen on the pin. I know I'm losing a pawn, but I feel that I can now simplify. And we know this is my preferred method. I'm going to swap the queens off. I'm a piece up. I've got confidence. It's not entirely straightforward to win, but of course, with an extra piece, it should be winning. And I say it's not entirely straightforward because my pawns are quite ruined. And I'm now going to use my extra piece, try to target some of these guys. And I can also come maybe in with the king. Got to use the king in the ending, of course. So let's use the king as much as we can. And this is very risky, but I'm trying to get my knight to some lovely squares here, which he's allowed me to do. He didn't really look at what I was trying to do. If he realized my knight was coming in here, he could have stopped it with some rook move. Because now my knight has come in here. Well, I've got a very nice pass pawn now. My knight gains this lovely square here, and the a pawn won't be stopped here. My king can just come back, and I push the a pawn all the way home, and it should be very simple here. So here we go. Off we go with the a pawn, and he's not even trying to stop the a pawn. Well, I'm going to be greedy. I might as well keep my knight when I queen, and we'll pre-move the queen there. And we should have enough time to finish this one off, and we'll have a quick look. But he played very well. I mean, the games are getting much trickier now. They're getting much trickier at this rating range. And Well, exchange French, very popular, but again, you shouldn't fear positions when you've got the black side where you're immediately equal. But you just have to learn, again, still the right plans. Now, I know after knight f3 that bishop g4 is a way to unbalance it a little bit, not just go completely symmetrical. Now, bishop b3 was his first mistake. It's a nothing move. And I feel that after c4, I could have probably taken more advantage of his position than I did. I think bishop b4 is good. Castles can't be wrong. He plays c5, and now maybe this was a little bit artificial in hindsight. It did have the advantage that my f-pawn came in, but apart from that, if I had this again, I would have gone for b6, because when the exchange happens, I've got the open a file, that's very nice, and my pawn structure is better, and maybe I can play c5. So I think this is an error on my part, but again, it's not a big error. I'm developing, can't be bad. I'm keeping the initiative going, and here I'm keeping that going. I want to get rid of that knight now that it's not pinned. I'm using my f-pawn. I'm still better here, definitely, but he managed to get a little bit active, and but hopefully I was still under control there because of my little bit of space on the king side. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you like and subscribe. I think the games are getting much more interesting, and it's a tough rating range here, and I hope you're learning as we're going along. Cheers and goodbye for now.